All right, welcome back to InsideFlix. We're going to be doing our weekly box office report. Dungeons and Dragons took it this week, but Rich, you tell us which films made the top 5 this past weekend.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves rolls in with $37.2 million. Number 2 is John Wick Chapter 4 with $28.3 million. Number 3 is His Only Son with $5.5 million. Number 4 is Scream 6 with $5.3 million. And round out the top 5 is Creed 3 with $5 million.
Chris Pine needed this hit, right? Chris Pine's kind of been, I don't know, he's been trying to find a franchise. And I wouldn't say this is going to be a franchise for him, but he definitely needed a box office hit or a win. And he gets it with Dungeons and Dragons. But what is your thoughts about this particular number for the opening weekend?
I thought it was going to be a little bit more, but yeah, it's still okay to me. It's the longevity. If it could reach at 200 by the end of the spring, that would be a remarkable thing for this film, and maybe even mark a sequel.
I think the opening for the movie is actually pretty good. The movie did much better than I was expecting because even though fantasy is a very popular genre right now, I think this is kind of more of a subgenre of fantasy, kind of more of a Willow or, kind of more of a children's kind of fantasy. And I didn't know if this would have wide appeal, kind of like how the recent, Willow series completely failed for Disney. Mm-hmm. I thought this might have backfired for Paramount, but I think this is a really good opening. And kind of like Mike was saying, yeah, Chris Pine really needed this. Mm-hmm. I think all the stars in the movie kind of needed this, and good for them. I went to one of the early screenings for this movie, and while I didn't particularly love the movie, I mean, my audience seemed to really enjoy it. So it's cool that it's finding an audience. It's very much kind of a fantasy Marvel movie, basically. So I mean, that explains why I didn't like it.
I wonder if this will have longevity, like Rich was saying. I wonder if this will have legs, because I could maybe compare this to Shazam, because it feels like similar films. You got two films that are kind of geared for a family affair. To me, it doesn't seem like those type of movies are doing that well this season or this part of the year. It seems like more people want gritty, rated R stuff, something like John Wick.
And like you said, with Chris Pine, who needed a hit, I think the other person who really needed a hit was Michelle Rodriguez. And other than Fast and Furious, of course, which is going to be eventually coming to an end.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. I think Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez have critics have shined a light on their performances and saying they're probably the best thing about this particular movie, or they make the movie better with their appearances.
And let's talk about John Wick again, because John Wick, it did the typical second week drop over 61%, but I think this is still pretty damn good. I mean, it's $28.3 million. It's been a strong week for all the films in the top 5, with each film coming over at $5 million. So it's just a strong week for all the films.
Raymond, you have anything to say about John Wick?
Actually, I'm kind of disappointed by this drop, because I was really kind of hoping that this would have been the first John Wick movie to be like a $500 million movie. And with this drop, I don't really see it doing that right now. Like, if the international numbers are updated, I think it's doing really well, but I think it's made about 245 million, and yeah, I don't know if it's going to reach 500 anymore. It's still a huge hit, but I thought it was going to be bigger based off that opening.
But we got to talk about the third film also, His Only Son. This is from Angel Studios, who are also producing the Chosen series on television, which is obviously a huge hit for them. And this is their first feature film from them. So it's just another, holiday miracle for them. This is going to be Easter.
Right. It's Easter.
Week. Yeah.
It's perfect timing. It's Easter. This is a biblical film. And usually these movies come out around the same time. Surprisingly, this broke into the top 3. So that's something new. And I think with this film, and also something like Jesus Revolution, we're getting a new wave of religious based films that are doing not only well critically, but are doing well financially. And I think maybe some of these producers are actually catching on and saying, hey, we can make a lot of money with these religious films, but also make them entertaining, because critics and audiences seem to really, really enjoy them.
Yeah, with these numbers, we're getting closer and closer to Passion of the Christ Part 2.
Oh, man, I was about to make that joke.
No. All right, let's talk about the rest of the top 10.
All right, coming in number 6 is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Coming in number 7 is 1001. Number 8 is 65. Number 9 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Round of the top 10 is Jesus Revolution.
All right, now let's talk about the new movies coming out this week. Rich, tell us what movies are coming out in a wide release.
Yeah, opening up wide, the Super Mario Brothers movie, the new computer animated adventure comedy based on Nintendo's classic video game franchise. Chris Pratt is the voice of Mario. Charlie Day is Luigi. Jack Black is Bowser. Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong. And Anya Taylor-Joy is Princess Peach. Also opening up wide is Air, director Ben Affleck's new 1980s drama about the making of the popular Air Jordan shoe line, which stars Matt Damon, Viola Davis, Jason Bateman, Marlon Wayans, Chris Tucker, and Affleck as well.
Yeah, so Super Mario Brothers, the studios are predicting this to be huge, like really huge, about 120 to 130 million weekend.
Worldwide or just domestic?
Domestically. I think worldwide is 225 million. So they're expecting to hit huge numbers. Also, I should mention this projection is for Wednesday to Sunday. So I'm expecting that it's going to probably make over 100 million for the weekend itself.
Easily.
I think it's going to make way over that.
Yeah.
This might be like 150, 160.
Yeah, we'll soon be finding out the reviews on the film too. But I don't even think this. I think this thing might be review proof.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the movie itself hits so many boxes, right? So it's a family friendly movie. It's a movie for children. It's a movie for parents because they know the property. And I think it's also a movie for young teens or teenagers because the Nintendo game is still very popular. So I think it's so much enthusiasm around this film that I think people just out of curiosity want to check it out.
Yeah, it's one of those films that fits in that category, children of all ages, because everyone grew up with Mario. So.
Right. Well, let's get your thoughts on Air. They did a really good job of promoting this movie. They have pushed this pretty well, and I think a lot of people have heard about it.
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts on how well this is going to do?
Yeah, like you said, they screened it at SXSW, and it earned a lot of rave reviews there, and it just made it sound a lot better. And everyone's rooting for Ben Affleck to, this will be his big comeback. I mean, screw DC kind of thing, and it's something he needed right now, and so does Matt Damon, since their last outing with Ridley Scott's their haircut movie did so poorly. Yeah,
haircut movie.
Yeah. Well, those wig choices were horrible.
Right. It's a good film, though. By the way, The Last Duel. Yeah. The Last Duel is actually a really good film.
But I'm saying, in box office wise, it was a dud.
Oh yeah.
But this movie, Air, I think this was such good word of mouth, and if it does really well in this release, I think it might outlast throughout the summer, because everyone out there is a sneakerhead in some way or form.
Yeah.
So you never know. This might be the one that could make a big old profit for their new company.
You mean Matt Damon's and Ben Affleck's company?
Yeah,
their new production company.
I think, what the movie really wants to hit, if it wants to be like a huge success, it wants to reach the opening of The Social Network, which was about 22 million. I think what the movie doesn't want to do is open to what like the Michael Keaton movie The Founder opened to, which was 3 million. And other movies like the Steve Jobs films didn't do very well either. I think the Ashton Kutcher one actually had a better opening, and that opened to like I think 8 million or something like that.
Right.
So we want this to come higher than that. So I'm guessing it's going to probably be somewhere in between, and it'll probably come in with like 12 or 14. And I think it'll be lucky if it does that.
Yeah, I think that is the projection of that movie, that it's going to gross around that number. I think it might do a little bit better than that.
That's the hope.
Yeah, that's the hope, right?
And people love these shoes.
Yeah,
definitely.
And also Michael Jordan himself is just kind of an iconic figure. He goes beyond just basketball nowadays. But I fear if this movie is a box office disaster, does that kind of kill this type of adult type of dramas where I guess the sentiment would be these type of movies only deserve to premiere on streaming and not in theaters.
Yes, I think it's gonna, if it doesn't do well, that's definitely where it's going to end up. But like I was saying earlier, I think this has a chance of staying in the top 10 for a while.
I think the worry for the movie is, will the sneaker audience actually come out and watch this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if the sneaker audience comes out to watch this is going to be a huge hit.
Right. That's what.
But will they? I mean, are they interested in this? Are they interested in the business side of, these shoes are sold on eBay for thousands of dollars?
I think so.
I think the movie looks great, but I have a feeling that a lot of people, like if the movie doesn't do well, I have a feeling a lot of people just like really want to see a Michael Jordan movie, not an Air Jordan movie.
All right. Let's get into limited release. Rich, tell us what movies are coming out in limited.
Opening up in limited release is Paint, a new quirky comedy that stars Owen Wilson as a Bob Ross-like art instructor. Also opening in limited is How to Blow Up a Pipeline, a new razor-sharp eco-terrorist thriller about a group of young radical environmentalists starring Ariella Barner, Sasha Lane, Christine Flores, Lucas Gage, Forrest Goodluck, Marcus Scriudner, and Jake Weary. Also opening is Showing Up. It's the latest film from acclaimed First Cow writer-director Kelly Reichardt, which stars Michelle Williams with Hong Chow, John Magaro, and Andre Benjamin.
And now let's talk about streaming. What can people stream this week, Rich?
Streaming this week is On a Wing and a Prayer from Amazon Prime, the new plane survival drama that stars Dennis Quaid, Heather Graham, and Jesse Metcalfe. Streaming on Netflix is Chupa, the new family-friendly Chupacabra film from producer Chris Columbus and directed by Mexican filmmaker Jonas Cuarón, which stars Damian Bashir. Streaming on Peacock this weekend is Praise This, a new gospel choir singing competition comedy that stars actor-singer Chloe Bailey. Streaming on MGM Plus is The Portable Door, the new modern fantasy film from the Jim Henson Company starring Christoph Waltz, Sam Neill, Patrick Gibson, and this is coming out on Saturday on MGM Plus, formerly known as Epix. And finally on Hulu is Pretty Baby Brooke Shields, the new documentary about the life and Hollywood career of iconic 1980s teen model-turned-actress Brooke Shields. This is out now on Hulu.
Okay. That's about it for this. Thank you for watching InsideFlix. We'll be back next week. We'll see how well Super Mario Brothers is going to do. It's going to do huge, but we'll see how well it does. And we'll talk about the new movies coming out that week. All right. Thank you, and bye-bye.